throughout our news. Thank you very much. Now we move on to our next news. UK's anti-migration party Reform UK, led by Nigel Farage, has unveiled a plan to repeal human rights laws to enable mass deportations of asylum seekers. Farage said removing Britain from the European Convention on Human Rights and repealing the Human Rights Act is necessary to prevent major civil disorder. The party claims its plan could deport up to 600,000 asylum seekers in its first term, focusing on individuals from countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and Bangladesh, many arriving on small boats across the Channel. Prime Minister Keir Starmer faces pressure as immigration overtakes the economy as voters' top concern. Government ministers have called Reform UK's proposal gimmicks and warned of risks to international agreements, including the Good Friday Agreement. Farage has defended this plan, arguing it prioritizes the safety of women and children, while the government continues to focus on cracking down on people smuggling and reforming the asylum system. Now we're joined by Keith Vaz. He's a former UK minister, joins us live from London. Thank you very much, Keith, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, what was your reaction when you heard this law?
Well, the sad part of it, I think, is that all the major political parties are now trying to outdo themselves in trying to tell everyone that they're going to remove illegal migrants from the UK. And this is unfortunately where we're all going on immigration in the UK. It's the biggest issue at the moment in UK politics. Clearly, the current government has failed to deliver on this. There are 100,000 asylum seekers who've arrived in the UK since last year, and 50,000 have come on boats illegally. So the Reform Party is obviously trying to put forward its own method of how to deal with these issues. And I'm sorry to say it's not particularly let's say, fair to those people who try to come here legally. So this is a dramatic announcement. Of course, yes. Reform is not in government. They are still in opposition, and therefore this is not going to happen tomorrow, but it is clearly going to worry people about what's going to happen in the future. So this will continue to be a hot political issue as far as the United Kingdom is concerned. This is not going to go away.
And how would repealing the Human Rights Act and withdrawing from the European Convention on Human Rights impact the UK's legal obligations and also its international reputation?
Well, it's clearly going to have a huge impact on our international reputation. We are one of the original signatories to the European Convention. But the problem is that many people keep appealing once they have found their case has been lost, and parties like Reform and the Conservative Party believe that the only way around this is to repeal this legislation, because nobody wants to do things that are unlawful. Therefore, I think the most important aspect of this is to try hard to look and see where the law will go after this is over. And that is the difficult part. I think at the end of the day, you probably need a new Bill of Rights, which sets out the responsibilities and rights of the state and the public. But it is going to be very controversial.
And yes, it might be controversial, but how can the government balance border security concerns with, again, humanitarian responsibilities?
Well, they should read the report that I wrote with the rest of my committee when I was in Parliament in 2016, published in August. The only way to deal with this is to talk to the source countries, where these people are coming from in particular. That's Eritrea, it's Afghanistan, it's Syria. These are the countries. I mean, having said that, there were 5,000 who'd come from India, but they are probably settled people here who are here in one capacity who then claimed asylum. So there's no evidence that the subcontinent countries are using boats to do this. But I'm afraid everyone gets lumped in together. So you have to deal with the source countries. They need to appoint a czar who will work with the Home Secretary and talk to these countries about what can be done. And at the same time, they need to have a better relationship with the French. They're all coming from France on boats. They're not coming from other countries. And there is evidence that French police officers are watching these boats leaving French territory, actually watching them while they set sail and arrive in the UK. So this must have the consent, at least the blind consent of the French government.
Yes. I think, Keith, you should remind the UK ministers to read what you wrote, and I would also like to read that too. Thank you very much, Keith Vaz, for joining us and sharing your insight as a former UK minister. Now we move on and we stay in Europe. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has